can't express to you how emotional this day was for me. But what I can do is tell you that I love doing this with all of my being, and I will not give up.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today is qualifying day for Formula Drift J2 round 2. My goal today is to qualify. I have never felt more comfortable in this car. I feel like it's been a little bit of a battle just sorting out all these little issues, but it's finally all come together. Yesterday we did a little bit of a practice and man, it feels incredible. I literally feel like I'm just in one of my cars, like the Chaser, super comfortable, and the simulator has helped me a lot. So I'm going into today with a lot of confidence. But anyways, we got driver's meeting, so I guess enjoy the B-roll. It's time to head out for practice. Now that we actually have the zones all painted on the ground and like all the cones, I can really just hone in on my line and get that perfect. So hopefully everything goes smooth from here.
All right, so it's time for my first practice lap. And just by watching this, you can really see how much more comfortable I am in this car. Overall, a fire run for my first practice run of the day. And as you can see with my other practice runs, they're pretty consistent, and I just keep kind of practicing that same line.
First couple laps, I feel great. The car, amazing. All we got to figure out now is just like our consumption stuff. So we think we got to figure it out now. I should be able to do 3 laps and then come in and tire change. Looks like with the way we have everything set up, I should be able to get 3 laps instead of 2, which is great. So practice finished a while ago and I took a nice little break to cool down as well as just taking a nice nap. But I've already said this a bunch, I'm feeling comfortable, the car's feeling great. So I'm confident we're gonna go out there and do really, really well. The only thing I have to do is keep my nerves in check, but we should be good.
11番サム・ルーカス選手 SAMMIT
Ready to make it happen. Fan favorite right now. I see it all over the chat. Here he is bringing it into outer zone 1 right here. Tipping 2 tires. Able to get right back into it right here to this outer zone 2. Looks like he was riding that back line, swinging it back around through this outer zone 3. And right there in front of the fans, giving them a smoke show into the finish. Right here. Tipping 2 tires. Able to get right back into it right here to this outer zone 2. Looks like he's riding that back line.
しかし、全体的に元気を貸したので得点は入ります。So it looks very exciting, but maybe a little bit too many tires off at the outside zone 1. That's going to be a deduction, and also 1 tire off throughout outside zone 2. Not filling outside zone 3. He's going to have maybe a little above average on the line, but here we go. It's a 78 for Sam Lucas, SAMMIT's first run. サミット選手、サム・ルーカス選手の1本目78ポイント、78ポイントです。
First lap, I really would have hoped for a little bit more points, but we went pretty deep into zone 1. Actually, very lucky we didn't 3-wheel off and get a 0. The track's just a lot hotter than I was anticipating. From the time of practice to qualifying, it's been a couple hours, and we're now at the peak heat of the day. So what I'm going to do to combat that is just enter a little earlier so we don't wash out as deep, and I'm just going to really focus on getting my car set up there. The rest of the track we can figure out. I think the final zone, zone 3, I just need to be a bit deeper in. Otherwise, we're good. We still got really good points right off the bat, and now we can just dial that in a bit. Safe run in the bag. Pressure on SAMMIT. He's sitting on a 78, and I think he's right outside of the bubble.
Yeah, he's right at that threshold. So we're going to see how SAMMIT's going to do. A lot of fans on the live chat going on right now. Let's see how he's going to do here into the 3-2-1. Coming in very aggressive. Nothing to lose here for him. He's coming around.
さあ、アウトゾーン1。
Not too much there through that outer zone 2. But man, he was throwing down like he had nothing to lose. Unfortunately, that's going to be an incomplete, dipping all 4 tires through outer zone 4. He's coming around.
さあ、アウトゾーン1。
Not too much there through that outer zone 2. But man, he was throwing down.
No point to なってしまいます. That's going to be an incomplete for SAMMIT's second run. It's unfortunate because I don't think his 78 is good enough to make it into the top 16.
I'm so upset. The car straightened on me on my initiation because I wasn't committing and I was trying to go slower. I am so upset about that. In the entry. So what happened was, as my car entered, instead of it being fluid and going straight in, it kind of straightened a little bit, and I was like, oh no. So I had to reinitiate in a way to get myself in there. Now, I didn't know But obviously that put me in the exact right spot. But then what that meant was my timing and everything was all off.
Your muscle memory, everything was
And like by the time, and because also I was shallower, it was faster because I went shallower, right? It meant I had more speed coming to this zone. And I didn't clutch kick or pull the e-brake in time. I was so angry in the car.
Not gonna lie, guys, this one hurt. This one was tough. For the first time since I started driving in FDJ2 here in Japan, this was the first time that the car was perfect. Everything about the car was exactly what I needed, how I liked it, and there was absolutely no problem. And it felt incredible. This was also the first time that I had actually put in so much effort into preparing myself for it. I spent so much time on the simulator. I spent so much time reviewing all the J1 footage and just really studying how other drivers were driving it, that particular course, so that I was prepared, so that I would do well. And I think it really showed. I think, I know just from driving it from the first time in practice, the first lap, was just amazing. I, right off the bat, pretty much got the line. And yeah, I mean, there are a few different ways that you can probably run that line. And there's definitely other ways that you can do it and techniques and stuff you can use. But with what I had, I did what I could. And I think it worked out really, really well. I think the way that I was driving it was super aggressive. I think it looked really, really cool. But there was one big issue, and that was that we didn't actually know that all through practice, every single one of my runs, I was 2 tires out in zone 1. And this is mainly because of the lines that they paint down disappear very, very quickly. So in practice, even the practice session they gave us the day before, there was no lines on the track. And then in practice for the actual qualifying day, they had lines down, but they were gone already pretty much by the time I had done my first practice lap. And then the spotting position was a little difficult, and all the footage I had, you couldn't actually see zone 1 that well. And you'll see that in the footage, obviously, the trees and the shrubs and stuff are kind of in the way, which made it even harder to really tell that we were out. And the line that you do see there is just the normal Ebisu circuit track line. So there was a little bit of confusion there with my spotter and whatnot. And it's not his fault whatsoever. It's something that I should have picked up, and the rest of the team, we should have been able to pick up on that. But we didn't. So the entire practice, and I've gone through and reviewed every single one of my practice runs, I was 2 tires out in zone 1. So all of that practice, the line that I was being consistent with and committing to and driving for was already going to be a massive deduction. So when we realized that I was going out and out in that zone, and I decided to correct my driving and change my driving style so that I would not go 2 tires out in zone 1. It just wasn't something I was prepared for. And what happened was on entry, I put my car actually in zone 1, but right before hitting zone 1, my car kind of gripped up and it felt like inside the car that the whole car straightened.
So nothing to lose here for him. He's coming.
When I was in the car in that moment, I was like, oh, it's over. I just straightened out before entry. But then when I looked at the playback, obviously it wasn't actually like it wasn't a full straighten. It was just like a little correction before entry. It wasn't like, it wouldn't have deducted any points like for a straighten or given me a 0. So if I had just kept driving, I probably would have been okay. But what happened to me internally in the car was when I felt that straighten, I gave up for a moment, and I was just kind of just like, I just stopped, and I was like, oh my God, I screwed up. I messed up. There's a 0. And that's what popped in my head in that moment of when I felt the car do that. And I just kind of just like let the car slide out. We slid out of 4 tires out or 3 tires out. And at that point, that's when my brain had switched and I was just mad. And I was like, well, I'm gonna still, make a smoke show and make it good for everyone. And I just fully sent it. I am so mad at myself for that. I think the hardest thing about this is the mental game. The hardest thing about competing is, team management and just making sure that like your team and everyone is all working together for you to win, for you to do good. And like managing that as like myself, I can't do that. I'm not good at that with, dealing with just me as a person, ADHD and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very hard for me to manage a team and people. And that's where like May really, really helps me out with, because she's really good at that. So we're like really good partners there. But just in general, like I can't describe to you how upset I was at myself, just because I literally gave up for a few, what probably were like probably was half a second. And that was enough for me to miss the timing and do what I needed to do to keep the car from going off the track. Because looking at it, where my car was in zone 1, if I was focused and didn't give up and didn't think I got a 0 on that little straighten feel, it probably would have been a high 80 score because I was straight in zone 1. And if I had clutch kicked and then used my e-brake when I was supposed to, I probably would have been in zone 2 perfect, powered on through and finished the track and done great. So learning curve, that's for sure. Everything about competing has been the steepest learning curve I have ever experienced. The pressure of sponsors, the pressure of you guys watching in the live stream, which by the way is totally okay. It's stuff that I have to deal with, obviously. And then I think the biggest motivating thing for me, and I've had this ever since going through school and just life back as well, is like, which is also just because of my personality and who I am, dealing with how my brain works with ADHD and all that kind of stuff, is like, everyone always made fun of me. Everyone always hated on me, whether it's what I'm doing now or what I was doing in school or what I was doing at work. Like I always had people that just didn't understand me because I thought differently or I did things differently, and I was like I could never, look people straight in the eyes in conversations and all that kind of stuff. So, like just me as a person, I've always had that difficulty. And I mean, those who really know me and are my friends and stuff like that, they know I'm quirky and they know I'm weird, but they know my heart and they know exactly like the kind of person that I am. But if someone doesn't know me and they just kind of watch me from the outside, I'll come across probably pretty standoffish because I don't know how to be social. Waking up the next day and seeing DMs from people just sending me the screenshot of the 0, the 000 from that one run, saying, oh, ha, ha, making fun of me and all that kind of stuff, telling me I suck or telling me I need to quit or telling me that I don't deserve what I have and all this, it doesn't stop there, right? It gets pretty wild. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like giving attention to, negative people or haters or whatever you want to call them, right? Because at the end of the day, it's probably just going to encourage them more. But I also just want to say thank you to you guys because you're just motivating me more. I find it so funny because it's just like,
it does nothing but better me. Like, I don't think you guys understand. Watching my content or sending me DMs or interacting and writing comments, liking or even disliking my videos benefits me. If you really don't like me and you don't like my content, then don't watch it. Don't mess with me. Don't even, like, I don't understand, like, everything that you're doing to try to like bring me down just brings me up. Like, it motivates me more when you send me stuff like that, because I just want to prove you guys wrong even more, on top of just living my life and having this amazing dream and being able to do what I do. So I don't know what you guys are thinking or what you're doing, but thank you. And also, if you are watching my content, you're making me money. Even if you do have ad blocker, you're still making me money, because what happens is the algorithm sees you watching my content and it goes, oh, more people are interested in watching Sam's content who usually aren't interested in it or have previously said bad comments or negative things or disliked things about Sam, and it goes, oh, I'm gonna start recommending Sam's content to more people like you. So it's like, then they watch it and they might not have an ad blocker on, and then it just keeps going on and on and on, and then all of a sudden it just generates more and more money from more and more views. Yeah, anyways, that was a little bit of a tangent, but I just kind of wanted to say, I'm not giving up. I know a lot of people out there would love to see me give up. I'm not giving up. I've worked way too hard to get to where I am, and I think this weekend was the closest we ever got to it. The closest we ever got to, you know, getting into the finals and everything, even though we didn't qualify. And the main reason for that was just, we need to work on myself a little bit so that in those situations I can make quick decisions to not just give up and let the car kind of go off track, as well as we just got to work on a little bit more team stuff. So, you know, we just need better communication and things like that, because in competitive drifting, if your team isn't communicating correctly, and if it's not managed correctly, and if everyone doesn't know what their job is, it just comes down to luck then whether or not you qualify. And if you don't have a proper team supporting you, yeah, it's just not going to happen. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned. I tried winging it so much last year, and now to actually be trying and like actually putting a ton of effort in and training. Like, I'm literally tonight, this is literally Monday morning, I'm training with Sugo upstairs already for the next round. I just wanted to talk to you guys, explain what happened, explain why my performance sucked, and I sucked, and I'm learning from it. And it's a huge, steep learning curve. And I gotta also stop being so hard on myself. Everyone I talk to who is a pro driver in the US, who, you know, has been doing this for years, has championships under their belt, they all tell me the same thing, which is, Sam, you're just beating yourself up too much because you've only just started. These guys have been driving for decades. These guys have, like, you know, been living and breathing drifting since they were young, you know? I mean, like, I've literally only been drifting seriously, like, up until, like, I think when I first started drifting in Japan, I was lucky if I got to go driving once or twice a month. And I know that is still a lot for some people, but that was it. And it was just in like a skid pad. I didn't take drifting seriously until the middle of COVID. That's when I started going, I want to get good at this. And, you know, actually focusing on the dream of trying to get into competitive drifting. And that's when, you know, I invested, got the chaser, and we started driving at Ebisu. So if you look at that, I've only really been driving seriously for like maybe 2 years, maybe 3. And then all the practice and all of that from the chaser was all solo stuff, and in a chaser, not in a comp car, not in something that makes power. And if you look at that, and then you look at how I literally jumped into the deep end, we got a 800 horsepower, you know, S15, fully set up. Now, bear in mind, the car did need a fair bit of work so that I felt comfortable in it, and also with just a ton of issues and things like that from, you know, how many different owners that car went through and all the different revisions and all these kind of issues that ended up carrying on over to us. It was such a learning curve. And I think going from that, just knowing how much more comfortable I am in the car and how happy I am driving that thing, and just like, I didn't film it, but I ripped that thing on Toge, like at Ebisu circuit, never dipped off course. I felt super comfortable, and I destroyed like 2 sets of tires on there. I wish I filmed it. I'll film a video about it later, but I'm not driving Toge just because of the risk anymore. If you've ever driven Toge course, you know that if you go full send on that track, you're very comfortable in your car. So that was kind of like me just testing my nerves. But yeah, that aside, like, this year I'm ready. I'm actually really, really focusing on this, and actually really, really want the podium.
Last year, I feel like I was just winging it. I had no idea what I was doing. But this year, I have so many people helping me and supporting me and just pushing me in the right direction. And I have so many people that I've surrounded around myself that are so successful in this. So I think it's just a matter of time, and I'm really confident for the next round. But yeah, guess all I wanted to say was no, I'm not going anywhere, and no, you can't make me. And please keep hating on me, because I mean, I just love it. And so does the algorithm, and so does my bank account. This is so stupid. Anyways, it was an emotional weekend. I'm sure you guys all understand. I'm sure you've all had something that you really, really want, and you've given so much to. So, and maybe you didn't get it, I don't know, but we're so close. And yeah, just keep watching this space. I feel like I've never really been this kind of open about like my emotions behind like driving and all that kind of stuff, and just opening up a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I've always been about being real to you guys, and I want this video here on the channel because I know I will need to watch this at some point, whether it's to humble myself, whether it's to encourage myself again because I'm having a bad time driving, or if it's even for you guys. I want this video here because if we do succeed, then this will just be a massive hero story that so many people can be encouraged with. Even if it's just one person, I think that's worth it. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry for the long talk at the end. Sorry for not doing good, not doing my best. Well, no, I think I did my best. I think I can do better. But yeah, I hope this encourages you. I hope you're not bummed. I hope you're not upset. But yeah, up from here. I definitely am not giving up. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Especially subscribe, guys. So close to 700K. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace. Jamata.
Here we are, Sammit. Sammit's in the lead. Look at that, real aggressive in his initiation. Do that 3-2-1. Watanabe trying to fight that cloud of smoke by Sammit, but Sammit just laying it down. Them 80-09s ripping into outer zone 3, shredding those tires and knocking those pylons all over the place. And man, Watanabe was fighting the whole time through those clouds.
That was a very stylish run by Sammit leading. That was a lot of throttle, a lot of angle, and I'm going to have to say the line was pretty good throughout the track, so that was a pretty solid lead run by Sammit. That's probably why he did qualify 6th for qualifying, but great job by the lead driver. And Watanabe looks like he was trying to keep up with Sammit. He does dip a tire off and hits the cone at the outside zone 1. It looks like he kind of shoots his car in the wrong direction and ends up in a smaller line at outside zone 2. But he goes right back on track, tries to get on the same line as Sammit after outside zone 3, but it's too late because Sammit is already going through the finish line.
Congratulations, bro. No fix your car anymore.